everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back with two new shows. We're actually doing another Christmas show pairing, and the two films we're going to be reviewing today will be the Christmas Chronicles 2 and Jingle Jangle. So those are the two films we're going to be reviewing. Both films are streaming. I want to say they're both on Netflix, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're both on Netflix, so we'll be reviewing that. Also, the Christmas Chronicles, the first one is also on Netflix as well, if you haven't seen that one, which I personally hadn't seen that one, so I had to watch that one first and then watch the second one afterward, because otherwise I didn't know if I'd know what was going on, so, because you never know. So it definitely helped to watch the first one, I'll tell you that. You don't have to watch the second one, but definitely helped to watch the first one, I would think, so. Well, without further ado, I'm going to have Jason take it away. So obviously the first show we're going to be doing the first one we're going to be reviewing will be the Christmas Chronicles 2. So let's get into it, man.
All right. So the Christmas Chronicles 2 is obviously a sequel to the Christmas Chronicles, which came out, I think, last year. I'm pretty sure it's just last year, maybe the year before on Netflix. And to be honest, I remember liking the first Christmas Chronicles movie quite a bit, but I didn't remember anything about it really, except for I remembered that Kurt Russell made for a surprisingly good Santa Claus, and I remember that the prison musical number, which I loved. I remember that. So I planned to watch the first one again before watching the second one, but I just didn't get the chance. But still, it made perfect sense. The sequel involves the same two kids that were in the first one, the brother and sister, except for the sister in this one takes the lead, Kate. She is basically whisked away to the North Pole as part of the plan of a renegade elf who wants to get back to the North Pole. So there's it's a very complicated plot. Actually, it kind of surprised me how ambitious the plotting was, because I just kind of expected it to be kind of more of the same, but it's not really. It's actually a pretty ambitious sequel it does a whole deep dive into elf lore, I guess you could say. I mean, like a lot. Like it's almost like a miniature Lord of the Rings story background for the elves. And at the same time, it involves some time travel and another musical number. It's kind of all over the place, but long story short, I really liked it, actually. First of all, I am kind of a sucker when it comes to Christmas movies in general, but I don't like them all. I mean, there are Christmas movies that I don't like. I just watched that Dolly Parton thing on Netflix yesterday, and so I'm not a sucker for all Christmas movies, but still, I'm pretty easy on them, and I enjoyed this one a lot, actually. I can't remember the first one enough to know whether I liked it more or less. But I gave them both a pretty high rating. So I still think Kurt Russell is an excellent Santa Claus, surprisingly enough. I like that they threw Goldie Hawn in there as Mrs. Claus this time. Obviously they have pretty good chemistry, having been, a real couple for, decades now. I liked all the elf background story. I liked the time travel. I liked the musical number a lot. There's a Darlene Love cameo in there that I thought was great. So I really enjoyed it. Like I was trying to resist it, unnecessary sequel. Oh, it's cheesy. It's a Netflix movie. But no, it won me over pretty early on, and I really enjoyed it, actually. So I gave it a thumbs up, Kier. What do you think, having watched both of them pretty back to back? What's your take on the Christmas Chronicles saga thus far?
The Christmas Chronicles saga. Well, I'll first preface it by saying I'm not as big of a Christmas movie person as Jason is. He loves, I don't know, Christmas movies. Same with Halloween. You watch all horror movies during the Halloween season, so you're kind of a bigger holiday guy than I am. But with that said, and I'm also not a big musical fan either. So with that said, and we'll get into that in the second film as well. But with that said, I did enjoy both of them. The first one kind of felt like a film that I had seen before, because the first one was a little bit more based on basically these kids that want to the little girl wants to basically find Santa Claus or to kind of like catch Santa Claus giving presents, and ends up finding Santa Claus, and you know, and kind of goes through a whole whole spiel with damaging his sleigh, and him losing his hat and stuff like that, and having to like find all the, and losing the sack of presents and stuff like that. And so that's kind of what the first one was kind of more focused on, just them running around his neighborhood trying to find like his lost items and things of that nature. So
typical Christmas Eve hijinks.
Yeah. And so it felt like a story that I had experienced before. I can't think of the exact movie that maybe it's a collection of different movies, but it felt like a similar, like you said, Christmas hijinks and that kind of stuff. So I felt like I kind of been there, done that. So I didn't hate the first one. I did like it. I would probably still get that one probably 3 stars out of 5 for the first one. This one is a little bit different. So I did like that this one did go kind of in a different direction, where it wasn't that same story, because this one primarily, most of the setting is actually at the North Pole, and so you get a chance to see the elves in their own habitat. Like I said, there's a little bit more with Mrs. Claus and that kind of stuff. And so like you said, it was a bigger plot, I felt like, in some capacity. Even though it was mostly set at the North Pole, it felt like the plot was more vast. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was a more confined setting, but it felt like a more vast plot. I mean, and they do leave the North Pole for various reasons and things of that nature in this film. And it also starts off with them not being in the North Pole. They're like the family, the kids are like on vacation with their parents, and maybe their soon-to-be stepdad, on vacation, like in Cancun or Mexico or someplace like that. So there is a little bit more to it in that. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I definitely, I thought that, like you said, I think Kurt Russell plays a great Santa Claus. I think that obviously his real life wife is Mrs. Claus. I thought that was a great chemistry, great pairing. I thought the kids were great. I thought the acting was good. I thought it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it. It's definitely one that I would revisit again. For Christmas. Around this time of year. Like I said, I don't know that I don't have like a go-to every year that I have to watch the same Christmas films every year. So I just kind of go with every once in a while. I just feel like, okay, well, it's Christmas, let's watch a Christmas movie. But fortunately, every Christmas there's probably new Christmas movies to watch as well. So I don't typically rehash a lot of the older ones often, because there's always Christmas movies coming out, I feel like, all the time around Christmas. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I definitely thought that it was I thought, as sequels go, I thought it was actually better than the first one, in my opinion. So
cool. Yeah.
Might have just been because that that first one, it felt like something that I had seen before. You know what I mean? Like, I can't put my finger on it, but it just felt like a typical, like you said, Christmas hijinks, oh, we have to save Christmas, you know what I mean, kind of stuff. Whereas this one wasn't really so much about, it kind of was about saving Christmas, but it was different. It was more about, saving the North Pole versus saving Christmas kind of thing. So I kind of like that change, or that transition to that. So
and you get to see a bunch of elves basically get infected with the rage virus.
Yes, they become like basically mad zombies, basically.
Well, yeah, like mad, like rabid.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Elves. Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they turn into like 28 Days Later elves or something like that. So
like the cute PG version of 28
yeah, 28 Days Later. Yeah. They're not like, well, I don't know. They might have killed you if you were stuck around them long enough, but
no, they're pulling their chainsaws and all that kind of
stuff. They were pulling out chainsaws. They were, shooting weapons at them. They were like definitely trying to get after them for sure. So it was like, they gave them like some meow mix or something like that just made them all go like rabidly insane.
Yeah, so you get that, you get time travel, you get like it's a pretty nutty movie. I liked it.
yeah, there's time travel in there, and like I said, there's and then there's even elves that that weren't like infected. They were also like ready to attack also in the other part of the world when they travel there and land, and I forget where they had to go, someplace in the Middle East or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a full-on like Lord of the Rings backstory for the elves.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. Definitely one that you can watch. Obviously, definitely one you can watch with the kids and that sort of stuff. And the whole family can watch this one. So I mean, and like I said, I didn't quite like the first one quite as much, but I still enjoyed it. This would be a great addition if you were on Christmas Eve or something of that nature, and you just want to sit around with the family and watch two films back to back. I mean, it's a pretty easy film to watch. I don't think they're longer than 2 hours each, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I think the first one's an hour and 45, and I was kind of surprised when I started this one that it's almost 2 hours. It's like an hour and 55 minutes, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
When I started it, but it's not boring.
But you can still blow through both of them in less than 4 hours. So so if you don't have anything going on Christmas Eve, and you want to do something with a family, this would be a good one just to pull out and you guys watch both or either. I would probably suggest maybe watching the first one just so you have a frame of reference, because there's definitely a scene. I'm not going to get into it. There's definitely a scene in the second one that when they go back in time, that I think that will make a lot more sense if you watch the first one. So, I definitely would say watch the first one first if you haven't watched the second one. So, but yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about this one, sir?
No, I dug it.
Cool. And now into the second one. Which was Jingle Jangle. What's funny is I was actually going to do Christmas Chronicles almost for the same reason you. I actually watched Jingle Jangle a few weeks back, so my memory is a little bit hazy on this one also. But I'll do the best I can. I'm not going to go into specifics about characters and that sort of about names and stuff. Other than the main character, his name is Jangle. I can't remember his full name now.
Geronicus, I think.
Geronicus Jangle or something of that nature. Yeah. Basically, he's an inventor. He owns kind of like an inventor's workshop. Basically, he invents toys and things of that nature. And he's really successful. Inventing all these toys and things of this nature. And he has an apprentice that's working for him. That is also an inventor, but never could just quite get it back. Just doesn't have that magic in order to make the toys work right. They work kind of similar, but they just don't work quite right. And I assume that they live at this place as well that they're working at. Because they're there all the time, so it almost comes across like a play, because they're mostly in his workshop for the entire movie for the most part. They leave occasionally, but usually he's right there on the street, or there's one scene, and I'll get into that in a minute. But so basically it's Django, his wife, and then his young daughter that are there. I think they do live there because they go upstairs. I think there's rooms or something like that. So I think they do live there. So they live there, and I assume that his apprentice lives there as well. Well, Django comes up with this new invention, basically, of this little miniature talking doll that actually can talk and communicate. You know what I mean? It's some really good invention that he comes up with, and Django's plan was to basically replicate these dolls for kids all over the world. You know what I mean? It was this talking doll that actually interacts with you, can talk. And the doll basically doesn't want to be replicated. He wants to be unique. He wants to be his own doll. So he kind of devises a plan with the apprentice that works for Django, and basically says, "Hey, you're an inventor too. You just need the right tools. So why don't you kind of borrow some of Django's, or borrow his book of inventions, and take that and basically steal it, and then you can start doing your own inventions." And that's kind of what happens. They basically end up stealing all of Django's plans and inventions and all the things that he was wanting to create, and they basically take it, and the apprentice as well as the doll basically leave. And after that, I guess, Django's just kind of depressed in some capacity. He feels like he, can't create things on his own without that book that he's been working on for his lifetime work and that sort of stuff. And, years pass by, Django's wife ends up passing away. His daughter ends up growing up, and then, he ends up basically shipping her off because he's just depressed and that sort of stuff. It's kind of a long story, and I'm kind of not trying to give the whole story, but you kind of almost have to, because so much time passes between the beginning and the end. Which then we get to basically, I guess.
Yeah, right now you're only about 15 minutes in right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But so then at some point, basically his daughter, this years go by, basically he's not really inventing anymore. He's more of a repair shop now. So basically he's losing money, he's losing business. He hasn't really come up with like any like cutting edge invention for, many years. Meanwhile, his apprentice is basically took off and, is inventing all these toys and has becoming like toy maker of the year and this kind of stuff like that. And Django's just pretty much almost kind of forgotten about, almost, on the brinks of losing his home and workshop, basically, because, the banks are not going to want to loan him any more money because he's not turning a profit on the toys and that kind of stuff. At the same time, his granddaughter decides to come visit him for the holidays, who also kind of has the gift of inventions, and that's just kind of where the story goes from there. So, so it's a musical, and the older version of Django, not the younger, but the older version of Django is played by Forrest Whitaker, who's always great in almost everything he does. And then it is a musical, so it is an interesting story. I'm not huge on musicals, so for me, it wasn't as fun for me as a Christmas Chronicle, which does have some songs in there, but I wouldn't call the Christmas Chronicles a musical or the second one by any means. There is a couple songs here and there, but really just maybe one song in each one of those. This one is definitely musical, with everybody having a chance to sing, pretty much, including Forrest Whitaker, who is, I'm not going to say he's a terrible singer, but he's not a singer. Let's put it that way. So I was just like, really? They're going to give Forrest Whitaker a song? I knew they were going to, because, he's the star of the movie, but he's not the best singer. In fact, all the other singers in the movie are probably better singers than he was. So it also has, the apprentice ends up being the older version ends up being Michael Keegan, who also sings as well, who's probably a little bit better singer than Forrest Whitaker. I would say he's a little bit better singer than Forrest Whitaker is. But,
Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, Keegan Michael Key. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But he's a little bit better singer and plays kind of the villain in there, and kind of still brings his own kind of Key and Peele personality to that fold. He's kind of still kind of comical in some ways as well, even as a bad guy.
He's kind of like an evil leprechaun. He wears that green suit.
Yeah, he's right there in the image there. He wears like that green suit. Yeah, exactly. But very tall leprechaun. I think
a tall evil leprechaun.
Yeah. I don't think he's a short guy in real life.
No, yeah,
probably over 6 feet tall. But no, I thought it was decent. I didn't love this one, but I thought it was decent. I didn't like it quite as much as the Christmas Chronicles 2. Like I said, it's a vast story, and without going too much into details, it's kind of hard to really explain everything, because like I said, like time passes. Obviously, when the film first begins, Django is young and his daughter is about the age of his granddaughter at this time. And then that's how much time passes that his granddaughter then comes and visits him for pretty much the first time, and is the same age as basically his daughter was at the beginning. So like I said, you're talking a span of, 20, 30 years or whatever it was, and, people around him pass and that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I thought it was okay. It's probably not one that I will personally throw on my holiday, Christmas watching list. There's just other films that I would probably gravitate to over this one. So what was your take, Jason?
Yeah. I think I liked it a little more than you probably, but I definitely, I didn't love it. I liked it. I thought it looked really great. I thought the cast was really good. It's a really beautiful film visually. There's some cool like animation, like stop motion animation that kind of bridges the the time passing.
Right.
I like it when a movie throws in stuff like that. It's long for one thing. It is
very long. Well, yeah, you got to go with a span of like 30 years or something like that. So it's just long based on that. It almost plays like a play for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely got a Broadway musical feel to it.
Yeah, it's got like a play feeling to it, and that's probably the other thing that might have probably didn't resonate with me quite fully, is just because it has kind of that play feel. Because like I said, most of the film is centered in his shop, and And even when he leaves the shop, he's pretty much just right outside on the street front, basically. So it's like the kind of film that easily could have been a Broadway musical or something of that nature. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's not. It's way bigger budget and stuff like that. But it almost feels like those. They're kind of hip right now. There was one for the Grinch just last week, I think, where it's like kind of a televised live musical performance.
Right.
They've done a few of those recently. It kind of almost feels like that. I mean, it's obviously not, and it's got loads of special effects and all that kind of stuff. So it's not, but it has that kind of Broadway musical feel a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's turned into a Broadway musical after this.
Right.
But yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. I enjoyed it. It's long. It's only like 5 minutes longer than the Christmas Chronicles, but unlike the Christmas Chronicles 2, it really feels like 2 hours. I mean, it
does feel a little long. I mean, there is a lot of story going on there. And like I said, I don't want to tell anybody how to shoot the film or anything like that, but I almost felt like, did you really need to have the 30 years pass? Couldn't you have just used that, be his daughter, be the one that is, you know what I mean, that has the gift or whatever, and couldn't you just have taken it from there? I don't know. So that was kind of the question that I had. Is it felt kind of like they could have done it a little bit differently, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe just to cut down on time. So but I don't know. So
yeah, actually, now that I think about it, wouldn't that make the Keegan-Michael Key character, wouldn't that make him like 90 years old now that I think about it?
Yeah, well, he was still young looking basically, and even now, yeah, because he wasn't like a kid when he.
No, he was like probably 20, 18 or 20.
Yeah.
And then like 50 years pass?
Something like that. I don't know if it's 50, but it's definitely,
no.
It's not 50. It's like
maybe
like 30, 20 or 30, somewhere in there. Yeah.
I was messing up the math, but yeah, I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it. It's super cheesy, super like feels long, but I mean, like the songs are good, the performances are good, and it looks really nice. So yeah, I didn't regret it. But
yeah, I kind of question
movies. I preferred the other one.
Yeah, and then I kind of question, like, I love Forrest Whitaker, but he's clearly not a real singer. So it's like he was the best choice you guys had for a lead in this role, a film where he's going to be singing songs. Like, I don't know. So
yeah,
I mean, like I said, I like Forrest Whitaker. I've got no problem with him as an actor, but
I don't know.
I felt like they could have, if they needed an older version of, an older black man that can sing and also is a good actor, I think you might have had some other choices that were out there.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. So
yeah, and it's kind of like it's like when his song started, I was like, oh, Forrest Whitaker can sing, and then like I was like, oh, yeah, not really.
Yeah. They definitely they had to auto tune that a little bit, I'm sure. Yeah. So but yeah, so I don't know, that was my only minor gripe in that capacity. And it is long, like I said, it felt a little long, and you really don't even get to see the like you see the apprentice in the beginning, but then you really don't see him again until almost towards the end, really. You know what I mean? By the time you see him again, you know what I mean? Like, I had almost forgotten all about that. I didn't even know he was going to be back in the movie again. You know what I mean? I thought he just ran off and became successful and, whatever. I mean, I kind of figured there was going to be a villain somewhere, but they don't bring him back in the fold till, I don't know, an hour later.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So,
and I don't mind a movie being long. I like lots of long movies, but when it feels long, that's the problem. Like they were basically the same length, and the Christmas Chronicles 2 did not feel long, but Jingle Jangle felt long.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure the exact opposite would be true for some people. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. That's fair. Yeah. I agree with that. Oh, cool. Anything else you want to add about Jingle Jangle? Okay.
No.
All right. Well, as always, let's get into these reviews. So let's start with the Christmas Chronicle. Overall grade and face you would give that one?
I gave it 4 4 out of 5, which is my I'm giving a lot of those lately. I'm seeing a lot of B pluses this year, which hey, I'm fine with. But yeah, that's this face. Just a nice big smile. I just watched it today and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cool. I went a little bit lower, not a whole lot lower than you actually. I gave it I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Big spender.
I said I gave the first one 3. So
yeah,
it's not, it's not too crazy. So I'm going to give that one 3.5 out of 5, and I'm going to give it this face. Smile and some teeth. And then what about a Jingle Jangle? Overall grade face, you would give that one.
I gave that just a little bit lower, honestly, if we were given quarter stars, I'd probably give it like 3.25. But since we're not, I gave it 3.5 out of 5, which for me is a solid B. Like, I didn't love it, but I thought it was a strong effort. I wouldn't be opposed to watching it again sometime, but yeah, 3.5 out of 5, solid B. So it's just like,
cool.
Not a restrained smile.
Yeah. Yeah, but no teeth, really. Okay.
No teeth.
Yeah, our faces are probably gonna be similar, but our grades are definitely gonna be different. So yeah, I went ahead and gave it a 2.5 out of 5. So I thought there were some things going on for it, just not enough to get it to that 3 stars or higher. Like I said, it's a little long. It's a musical. It's just there were just a lot of things that weren't working for me, and then the Forrest Whitaker singing was kind of a head scratcher for me a little bit. But I'm not gonna say it's not the worst singing I've ever heard. But clearly, all the other people in the film seemed like they were singers. You know what I mean? His daughter, who I didn't know this, his daughter is a. She's the as the adult version of his daughter anyway. I guess she's the Lady and the Frog. She's the voice of the princess and the Lady and the Frog, I guess.
Oh, the princess. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So she is clearly a singer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, there's other women that are in the film that are singing, and other people. There are definitely some singers that are in the film. You know what I mean? So I don't know why they didn't.
I think John Legend wrote the songs.
I'm not for sure.
I think John Legend wrote the songs or co-wrote them or something. Yeah, I just thought of that. Yeah. So the songs are
yeah. Yeah. So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, which is this face, which is just a basic smile. No teeth. But yeah, so that concludes both of those films. So like I said, if you have seen either one or have any comments about either one of them, definitely let us know down in the comments. As always, if you like the channel, please like, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of your updates. And we will be back with again with another show for you guys again real soon.